I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThatUmbrellaGuy. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me. I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me.
Stomping the floppy shoes so hard, intellect the class delirious. You praying to stop so much, it's like you're having a religious experience. Despite all of your denials, I know that you know me and your crew. Ask your girl the last time she phoned me. Allegedly, just admit that even now you sing along. And even after I wreck you, you gotta bump my song. You should copyright loser because the dictionary cloned you. Crushed so hard, now my cleats own you. It's that umbrella guy, clutching the verbal hammer, locking you down in this inescapable syllable slammer. You wanna step up and try to oppose me? Yeah, you should ask anyone that really knows me. I'll take your bling, your girl, your dog, and move in your home, only to get out the verbal flamethrower and consume your plastic gnomes. You drip, you whip, you ride, your bride consumed by this mic hitter, just to drop them on the market to the highest bidder. It's that umbrella guy, live from the hat rack, with elbows that hit so hard you'll think it's a nuclear impact. I mean respecting you, please, that's a word you'll never earn. Yet another lesson you clowns have never learned. Along with standing tall and pride and repping values that you feel, and not fake morals you found inside your happy meal. I listen to you with your speaking style education, wondering if your parents bred with their relations. Wearing your big red nose and still thinking that you're a star, while you're forced to bump that umbrella guy inside your clown car. Yeah, it's that umbrella guy, broadcasting live to the masses. Timing out full, sorry we ran out of free passes. We gotta go further and not just expose you. Listen and believe royalty, we gotta depose you. Getting masked up because this flow is criminal. Dropping hammers so hard, they're subliminal. Unconsciously you want me to own you, as the parasol Pope is set to dethrone you. And I'm out.
All right, how's it going today? Welcome to a brand new month. Man, brand new month, brand new sets of crazy. And the crazy doesn't ever seem to disappoint, by the way. Hope all you folks are doing well, too. Welcome to October. Can you believe it's October, by the way? It's nuts. I mean, we have the doxing of multiple people. Basically everyone involved in the Lloyd RV situation. We have that done with opposing counsel on a live stream while it's happening, which is crazy. I thought we've been talking a lot about the federal case. Why don't we look at the federal filing? That might actually be good. I had somebody write me the other day and be like, hey, I don't remember the federal filing. Yeah, maybe we should cover that. Maybe we should talk about what all of this stuff hails from. Oh, dad joke. Boom. I swear. Oh, good times, though. Hey, by the way, kicking that out there, too, Deanna. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships, too. I appreciate that. I also want to note something while we're getting everybody in here. I thought this was pretty nasty. So I found out, I did a live stream, I'm going to say a couple of weeks ago, maybe. I can't remember. You know, it's been, time is such a blur when you, especially when you cover this, you know, the same case, you know, there's a big chunk blurred of time. But I talked one day with regard to all of this stuff about some stuff that had been happening in my personal life, you know, because people had doxed that and wanted to put it all out there. Well, out of that, I talked about how I didn't want people bothering my wife in that because, you know, again, a recovery. Again, not to dredge this up, there's a point that I'm talking about this, okay? I was like, don't bother. What do? Of course, they put her name out there. They throw out all kinds of inane, fucked up accusations to cause stress. And then somebody, again, I don't have the particulars of this yet, but somebody reached out trying to get information on me from a person. I was like, you don't need to bother them and try to derail them. Yes, somebody wanted to reach out and to not only cause them stress on a show, and I can't say who because I don't know, but I'm sure it has to be tied to that, the timing and everything else. They reached out to them looking for dirt. Looking for dirt in all the wrong places. I mean, what a bunch of scumbags, man. Now, there wasn't anything given to them, of course. I mean, again, with that situation anyway, there's nothing that makes me look bad at all in it. But it fascinated me. Because there's people out there that are, you know, of course, they love to yell and say they don't dox, right? But what they do, either themselves or they cause to happen, as in the case of people like Patty. Oh, the name, well, people just found it, and what happens there, that's not their problem. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? So somebody did try that. They tried reaching out again. I thought that was really scumbaggy behavior. Yeah, but does it surprise me? Not in the least whatsoever. In fact, the thing I'm going to show you today, I thought this was really interesting. We're going to kick off with this one here. Oh, by the way, what's up, John? Thanks for the 10. Tuck, I couldn't click fast enough tonight when I got the notification. Just to let you know, if you haven't seen already, Taylor Lorenz, yes, lost job today, allegedly fired, but they won't say that. Yes, actually, here's what happened to Taylor Lorenz. If you're wondering, by the way, I think this is something to talk about real fast before we get into everything. So Taylor Lorenz, if you don't know, Taylor Lorenz has written hit pieces about a lot of people, myself included. You know, she used mainstream media. Basically, she's one of those quote unquote tech reporters. You know, they trend tech reporters. They cover. They don't cover technology. They cover social media. And she went after a bunch of people with the Depp case. When she did that, she got called out because she lied about making contact with any of us, myself included. I put all that out there. So she wrote a lovely hit piece about me, which was very nice. She even named where I live. Very nice person. Well, that got her in trouble. You know what got her in trouble? Posting a Joe Biden meme. And you can like or hate any politician. I'm not getting into that. But I think it's really fascinating that her over-the-line moment, it wasn't doxing, harassing, going to people's homes, going to the wrong person home when you tried to dox somebody online. No, the over-the-line moment was putting up a political meme because... Now, of course, they let her, quote-unquote, walk away and go do Substack. But, yeah, they fired her. They saved her the embarrassment of actually calling it a firing. But, oh, man, what a move. It's amazing, though. Isn't it amazing? Like, mainstream media won't fire people for that behavior, like doxing, harassing and stuff, but they'll fire somebody. That tells you, to me, and again, I'm saying this for all of them. They have a line that they walk, and apparently if one of theirs doesn't walk that line, apparently they're shown the door. That's the line. A political meme. that fascinated me. So yeah, I saw that. I thought, in fact, we might have a celebration stream tomorrow. I'm thinking about starting that lawsuit with Johnny Depp's lawyer, Paul Barisi, who was hired by Amber Heard, with one of those Amber Heard simps is sued. I'm thinking about starting into that. It's long, but it is crazy and wild. But anyway, last night, that's a good note though, man, for sure. So last night, now I want to make sure you understand what we're seeing here, because I want to make this very clear. And when it's going over, you've got to remember who's involved doing this. So we're not going over this whole lawsuit either. I just kind of want to note what, again, I had to redact some crap off the screen. So I too was not doxing anyone. But yeah, so the RV litigation, the RV rescue, I'm sure you know plenty of that by now. Well, in this lawsuit, you have multiple parties listed. You have Reese Granger, Brett Granger, Deanna West, Rex Wood, Travis Willis, and Deputy Sheriff Gregory. Now, through these papers, when we went over them, like I said publicly, there was one page that I left out. There was a reason that I left it out too. And that was because it had all of the personal information about each one of these people that are being sued on it. It was front and center as the back page to all of this stuff. Now, enter a wonderful clip here that I would like to show you. And it has been redacted heavily. I've redacted the crap out of it because I don't want that information showing on screen, but I am making a point with this, so I do want you to be able to see certain things. Give me 1 second. Also, during this, the recording, it turns so there is about 2 seconds that's cut off here, but I want you to see this, okay? So this, like I said, is crap. I cannot get that to pull up there. Give me 1 second. That is not pulling up correctly. Crap. Give me 1 second, okay? I might actually have to re-upload that. I don't want to. Off this, though, you had a broadcast, right? Give me 1 minute. Yeah, what I'm going to have to do, I bet I'm going to have to re-upload that. Crap. Give me 1 second, okay? I've got a... Now, normally this wouldn't be a problem either. If you go through a document and it has addresses in it, it is what it is, right? I mean, they're there. It's a public filing. But typically when somebody is going through documentation, one of the things that is not there is opposing counsel. Opposing counsel is not part of what's going on the screen. You understand? So, there we go. All right. Like I said, just humor me for a second. I put this together really fast right off the thing, and I'm transferring it again. There was an error in the Dropbox. I was like, thank you, Dropbox. I could see it, but I couldn't play it. So just give me 1 minute. But last night, when they were deciding to go over all of this wonderful stuff, they decided to go over the entire filing. You know that filing that, like I said, I cut the back page off of. Because I knew that included in that filing, again, was everyone's personal information attached to attached to that case. Like I said, it told all their addresses and everything else. And again, typically when you go through something, if you screw up and you show that, I mean, you might have a TOS issue, potentially, but there we are. Yeah, give me 1 minute. I'm making sure that it transposed correctly. Yeah, it looks good. I had to redact it so heavily it caused a problem on it. Because they front and center, they showed everything. And what's funny is even the reaction of opposing counsel through it. They're like, oh my God. So check this out here. All right, I got it now. Sorry about that. It took me a hot minute to... I thought that was pretty fast, actually, to be honest. I say it took me a hot minute, but honestly, I recut and re-uploaded the video to make sure it would play again because there was an error in it. So I was like, well, that was actually kind of fast. So you can see here, you know, there's a discussion of this. Now, let me see. Closed caption. All right, so check this out. Listen to this here. Listen to the particularly, you'll notice who's attached to this too. You, of course, have the people running the thing, but you notice down here, it's old Brucey Bruce. Again, counsel. That is part of going after the very people that are named here. So listen. Just check this out. Now, why I blur it too is because at the right through here, this is all the people's addresses. Like they're going through and they leave this on here. And like I said, normally that might not be a problem. But the guy who is responsible for these documents, that is in counsel there, that should know what the fuck is in that, he's sitting on the panel and even he knows this is bad. Listen to this.
Deputy Sheriff Gregory, civil conspiracy, economic damages, exemplary damages, punitive damages, cost, attorney fees, plus any further relief this honorable court deems just and proper. Certificate of service. This instrument was served to process server.
See, they start going over the process server part. This was the process server portion. So they're like, oh, you know, right here, that's that last part, okay? That's, again, how this ended up. That's where everybody's information is at. Now listen to the reaction to this.
Okay.
Yeah, you can leave that part out.
Oh, you can leave that part out. Wait a minute. Better leave that out. Now, apparently somebody else on here, they're like, well, what? And then you can hear oh, shit. And even his response is bad. Listen.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh, shit.
You can hear, oh, shit. It's there.
Oh, boy.
What?
Okay.
So.
You hear the reaction? And they try to play it off. They're like, what? What happened? What happened?
Yeah, you can leave that part out.
Listen.
Yeah. So.
Oh, shit. Oh, boy.
Oh, shit. Now, I make light of that again, but what you're hearing there is, again, busted. Busted. Even they bust themselves. They're like, oh no, I'm sitting on this panel here, and we just exposed to hundreds of people the private information of every one of them. And again, I'd be like, that was kind of a fuck up, right? But they decided they were going to target a police officer. They decided they were going to target multiple people on top of that. And they put and remember what they've alleged about them. Like, if nothing else, I'm sure a police officer wouldn't be happy to know that the counsel for these folks, which is essentially them, is sitting on a live stream doxing their homes. I mean, but look.
Okay.
Look, you see the playoff. It's like, I love it. Just listen.
Process server to, okay.
It's like, leave this stuff out.
Yeah, you can leave that part out.
You gonna leave that part out? Then,
Yeah. So,
yeah, uh-huh.
So.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit. Boy. Oh, boy. And then they try to play it off like nothing happened.
What?
Okay.
What happened? What? Did your mic mess up? Did your Big Mac fall on the floor? I mean, Holy shit. Ah, it's so beautiful. I mean, busted for the world to see there. That's bad news, by the way, because they keep talking about harassment and harassing parties and non-parties. What's bigger than, again, dropping their fucking addresses while you represent those people? And again, just as a reminder, I would feel remiss in not reminding people about the insanity that is aimed at these folks and what they're telling people that they've done. Okay, I'm gonna broad stroke this just to, not to cover the document necessarily, because I mean we've seen the document, but just to make the point. Again, all these folks their information's there, including a cop. Congratulations, man. Congratulations. I mean, you want to take aim at a police officer. And if it were, again, if this were just the reading of a legal document, that would be one thing. But I've never had a fucking counsel sit on something with me and me read off something that very much looks like harassment. I'm sure the police would not appreciate that in any way. Give me 1 minute. And on top of that, remember, this is some whacked out conspiracy. I mean, when you put stuff like that involved with, wait, I gotta go the other way. I've got this in folders. I've got to remember how I set it up. Yeah, that's the way to go. Okay. I started foldering this stuff last night. I was like, it's so much that I've been putting it in its own folders, and it goes in the opposite direction in folders is what I pull up normally. But remember, they threw out what the hell's in this. They said that, there's this giant social media conspiracy. And they brought up, the idea of defamation, bullying, stalking, harassing, invasion of privacy, legal threats, physical threats, and the incitement of thousands of strangers by casting the targeted persons as villain, as characters, in a fake reality story. So when you read this, that it sounds like casting characters in a fake story and putting that information out in front of thousands of people, potentially. I don't know how many hundreds are watching, but I'm sure that they'll get a few thousand clicks. There you go. There's thousands of people there. You threw their information right out. And again, counsel did that, by the way. Counsel did it. Now, the reason they say they did it, of course, like I said, it's all about the fake story, kids, child protective services, and then they get to the RV story. Remember, that's what it's about. They make claims about Lloyd. They make claims about there being some conspiracy between Lloyd and Jeremy, again saying he's got to say that he's in fear of his life in exchange for a false elder abuse report. They say that she was terrified because all these people are there, and they throw in the sheriff. They throw in the sheriff's deputy. They throw them into this conspiracy, which is bad enough. I mean, again, I'm sure that the sheriff deputy did not appreciate being added to this in any way, shape, or form, period. But then to add him, like I said, they add him multiple times in here, talking about what he should have done, and they've talked about how they're going after him too, I mean, they put this insane stuff in there. They talk about how, let's see, they actually have one count that they aim right at the deputy himself. Talking about how he was acting under the color of law, how he should have notified her in advance. He used his authority to force her to endure invasion of her property, her peace and tranquility by 5 hostile individuals. That's fascinating. I mean, because of that act there, they put this guy's name again. They put his address, not his name. I mean, you're allowed to talk about them. But putting their address, that seems pretty wild, right? Like I said, so this, all of this is tied to that. I'm going to play it one more time just because it's entertaining. It is actually quite entertaining to me. Check this out one more time. We got to do it one more time. It's so short anyway. Oh, God. Here we go.
Deputy Sheriff Gregory, civil conspiracy, economic damages, exemplary damages, punitive damages, cost, attorney fees, plus any further relief this honorable court deems
you know what
just
this
and
tells
proper.
you too? When you hit this part right here, you know what this also tells me? They don't know anything about cases. Like, this is actually really telling. Because the first thing that, like, I'm not saying that an address won't sneak in or say, shit, that happens, right? But when you start reading the part about process server,
Certificate of service, this instrument.
when it's talking about the certificate of service, right away, you should be like, whoa, wait a minute. This might be bad. Maybe this contains some items that we shouldn't go over. People who actually know what the fuck they're doing, at least somewhat. I'm not talking about being a lawyer or anything else either. I'm talking about people who have gone over documentation. They know. They absolutely know what is, what's going to come up under that. But they didn't. They didn't. And you could see, I mean, they had to be told. And then they're like, oh, yeah, about that. But it's too late.
Was served to process server to...
You can see, oh, it was served to. Then they're right to the information. And it's been on the, it's been there. Like I said, it's there the whole time. I would say take that fucking stuff down. I would say take your live stream down from that. Because that was really fucking stupid. Damage done, by the way. But I would say, again, since old Brucey Bruce is on there too, you should have half a brain cell to know maybe you shouldn't leave that up there. Just perhaps. Perhaps that shouldn't be out there. And I mean, again, they knew it was bad.
Okay.
Yeah, you can leave that part out.
Yeah. So...
Oh, shit.
Shit. Oh, shit.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
What?
Okay.
Okay. I mean, you see that, you hear the, oh, shit. Oh, boy. Okay. I mean, like I said, that is as much an admission of knowing this was a big, bad no-no as anything else out there. Oh, my God. Is those people that talks for them, that sues people and threatens people all fucking day long. Decided, again, threaten you're going to sue a sheriff. I mean, in some of the most vexatious bullshit I've ever seen. Oh, they've been talking about how they're going to get us to, like, we're not going to come away clean. Megan and myself, man, fuck them. Threats. They're going to do what they do. I promise. A hell of a counter lawsuit, though. I promise. Because they have already launched 2 frivolous lawsuits. Already. And what's fascinating, we were reading a document last night that talks about threats toward non-parties. Like, they made this huge deal out of making threats toward non-parties. And yet, they go after non-parties all the time. It's just fascinating. So let's talk about that federal lawsuit. I mean, we've read so much on it, right? We keep talking about the federal lawsuit. But we're not talking about the federal lawsuit. Like that, I was like, wait a minute. Again, I had people messaging being like, hey, we don't even really know what the federal lawsuit's about. You know, and that fair enough. Fair enough. So I think that needs to be hit there. By the way, Fallen Hero, thank you for the super chat there. Appreciate you. Thank you very much for being here too, my friend, always. Angel, thank you, welcome. Thank you for the membership. Welcome to Tugs Thugs. Let me hit these real quick here. Suzanne, what's up? Thanks for the 20 there. In my opinion, he went above and beyond with patience and protection of her. They couldn't even open Lloyd's fridge that was outside, as it was quote-unquote private. As she claimed, he gave it to him. Yes, I thought the deputies did fine with it. Again, it was frustrating for both parties. He, though, from go, laid down the law. He said, this is how this is going to work. I'm not going to get involved in all of this madness and this mess. I'm not taking sides. If there's something in dispute, you're going to have to take it up with the judge. Fair. Right from go. But hey, you know, I guess that's the problem there, right? Cunning linguist thinks the two. She had over an hour's notice. They went and got Lloyd. Yes, that's true too. That is very true too. 100%. And Bo Beats, Black Sheep, thanks for the 2. Eyes Evil showed, use a child's cross as a weapon. Yeah, that felt, that felt sad. Like some of that made me, I don't know, it just felt sad. They keep talking though about how represent all those parties. They're all going to come after. It's going to be real fascinating when they're claiming John Cook. You know, because yeah, if it doesn't get kicked right from go and you sue everyone, then people get to talk about how Levy County, the place with half the national average, by the way, going to trial, that has been under the microscope for decades because of the way that they've handled a lot of cases there. Yeah, you get to talk about how they didn't go forward with police records and more. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. We get to bring up Lynette's own commentary about them. That'll be fascinating, right? That'll be real fascinating. So the complaint here, though, this is not. By the way, let me show you something on the federal case before we see this. I think there's another thing you should see before that, just to say where we are in this federal case, okay? Because remember, there's a certain lawyer that's been bragging how they managed to delay the case for 5 months. So, as far as the federal case is concerned, you might be wondering, what else happened so far? I mean, again, there's a lot of stuff. I'm going to definitely cover all the stuff that's in it, just to make sure it's there. But if you look this up, I decided to go on Pacer today. You know, if you're curious about cases and you want to look stuff up, you should. It's simple. You can look at any of the filings. You can see the case number across the top of it, and you can see where it's at. So all you need to do with this is look up the jurisdiction with Florida. Go on Pacer, like I said. Register for Pacer. You may not even need to do that. You may just be able to find filings that are online. But if you want to read them and you want to get them and make sure that they're, number one, filed, it is the version. Now, Pacer, if you pick up things through Pacer, there can be a cost, like documents, like the original filing. It's usually about, I think it's 10 cents a page. Not every filing, by the way, is important. Like when you have a civil cover sheet, you don't need to download that, you know. So you don't have to have everything. But you can see what's happened here. And there's another page of this too. Sorry, I keep letting my freaking cigar go out. You have the complaint. You can see the date when all this is filed. you know, and they're bragging about wasting time, which is just, like I said, it's fascinating to see. Cover sheets, notice, summonses. Then you had your motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction. Actions, memorandums that are filed. Action required by the magistrate judge. But you have deadlines. Again, I just want you to see what's filed in this already. Because where we've, you know, you can see how much time this sucks up. Look, you have 404, and then you do have a giant gap, you know? And the reason, by the way, people get confused about this, you had the report and recommendation, you know, the one we talked about, we went over, where it was talking about the dismissal of this. Not only that, but also how terrible false accusations are. It says filed and entered on 08/26/2024, and it notes termination. Now, people get confused over what termination means. But termination, all that means here is that they actually, they ended up adopting the reports and recommendations. So they did adopt it. You saw, again, when we went through that whole filing there, you could see them actually adopt it. So that's where we are. We're not alone. We've seen a lot of time sucked up, indeed. And interestingly, I think they would have been better off going faster or trying to move forward, because with this in, and then them filing other litigation and then more litigation, Brucey Bruce said it himself. He didn't want to file under his name because it looks bad that he's already on this. You know, he's already representing. That might actually look like vexatious litigation, right? And it does. So when you have that, you know, you give people plenty of opportunity. If they were going to bring something to, like starting out with a thumbnail lawsuit was dumb as fuck. Why? Well, because it's not a good step forward. And then they follow it up with the RV litigation. Again, another, I call it a nothing burger, but I feel like it would be more fulfilling to eat a nothing burger than to actually call that a real case. But as far as federal lawsuits, Jeremy's lawsuit here, blame Jeremy Hale, spine through undersigned counsel, sues Lynette, Michelle, Lacey, Alexis, Preston. Hereafter, they will call them Preston, thankfully, because otherwise, you know, I feel like I'm going through one of those naming books for children. Oh my God, that's so funny. If you ever met parents that are trying to name their kids, it's like, which one do we choose? We choose all of them. I mean, holy shit. Oh my God. And John Cook. Look at this too. Look at all the room it takes up. So here's this name. And then this one. Oh my God. Like having it under there. Oh, that's even funnier in its own way. John Cook. Like the most basic name ever, you know. Oh my God. 8 freaking letters. she has as many letters as his entire name right here in this. That's awesome. Oh my God. There's just certain things, I don't know, that kind of cracks me up a little bit. It's like, holy crap, what a name. So, summary of this case. Okay. This case is about the use of threats or extortion to compel Hales to behave in a certain manner and or to persuade Hales to provide Preston and Cook with benefits. Now the parties. Hales is a resident of Ohio, which has been upheld, by the way. We have had that 100% upheld. Remember, as part of their motions to dismiss, these ramble-a-thons that they call filings. Oh, God, some of them. That was 100% a go. Remember that they tried to get that. They tried to say that he actually lives in Florida. And Jeremy, he provided everything, its mother, plus the protection order, which I thought was a nice addition. Oh, yeah, by the way, there's a protection order here against these people. Also ascribed to that area. But who has built his career around his passion through social media, including without limitation, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and other platforms, with a current YouTube subscription fan base of over 700,000 people around the world for his YouTube channel, What the Hales. Now, right now, again, I'm curious. The last time I looked, he was at 722. Let me check here. I want to know. 1 second. I'm pulling up it. So he's actually grown to 723,000 subscribers, just to make this clear. It's interesting too. Again, the amount of traffic that he gets. Like I said, all of these. Remember, they went after him with the thumbnail litigation, and were trying to say, oh, the reason that he's doing all of this is because of this insane conspiracy. Like he needs Lynette. Like he has to have her as part of his coverage. And it's so batshit insane. But people who subscribe to What the Hell's social media platforms often pay monthly fees to Hales for premium access to Hale's social media platform, which is an open video diary of Hale's life. So they're talking about memberships there, subscription-based. And that's important. When you talk about earnings outside of ad revenue makes up a portion of what people make. But when you look at live streams, you look at memberships, that actually has quite a bit of impact as well when you're talking super chats and more. In fact, as a YouTuber, I know that. Right now, we barely actually clock any ad revenue. Most of the stuff, like for me, like the way I cover now, because I haven't been doing short form videos, it's just easier. I will bring those back eventually, but right now, live streams, and it is important, talking about as far as damages. Also, let me hit these 3 here real quick. Sue Scott, thanks for the 5. That'd be more facing LLP. Continues to call 911 and waste their time. I've got to show you a video on 911 craziness one day. Rhea Wright, thanks for the 2. Setting up a GoFundMe to get Crook a middle name. That would be the best. You know what? If they did that, I wouldn't even hate on it. I would laugh, and I would think that'd be the funniest thing ever. They'd be like, in order... Let me mark my place here. You just give me a second. Actually, I'm right here. They'd be like, in order to make the power dynamic in the relationship more equitable, we are trying to crowdfund for John Cook, hereafter known as Cook, a middle name. We've been placing documentations. He needs one. He needs a really good one too. He needs one like Tiberius, John Tiberius Cook. That almost sounds like Kirk. Tiberius, baby. Crowdfund that. John Tiberius Cook. It sounds too good for him, to be honest. Do you Radis? Thanks for the 2. Hashtag still not found, still not served. Hashtag hurry up deuce. Hashtag yikes. Hashtag yikes even. Fun times. Ed John there. Thanks for the 10. Funny thing is these lawyers trying doxing everyone. But I saw a video a couple of weeks ago by DUI guy about Lynette calling 911 on him, tugging Megan, or driver's license, but she was wrong. Yes, so we need to actually cover that too. Maybe I've got to cover that stuff again. You know, there's a this case is so crazy. The reason two form, you know, they brought me into this by talking about me as part of it. So I want people to understand what's been going on here. And I find it fascinating there. Number two is the public interest portion. You know, they make you part of it. They're like, oh, you know, when you have her lawyer making threats that they of course say are never threats, you know, just like saying they've never gone after and tried to knock down a channel, even though they have. One of my favorite emails I've ever read, by the way, that Bruce one. I don't want to misquote him. Where is it? Oh my God, it is so funny. God, there's so much stuff in this. Like I said, I've been having to organize it all because there's just so much of it. But one of my favorite things that he threw in there was was the last letter that he wrote to myself and to Megan, saying he wasn't threatening anyone, and these are his words here. Listen to this. This just cracks me up. I want to add this here. Nor am I, quote, trying to have YouTube channels shut down, unquote. Writing one letter reporting Veteran Nation's PR stunt and asking that they shut his channel down for it is hardly, quote, trying to get him shut down, unquote. I wrote one letter and asked them to shut him down, but that's not trying to get him shut down. Oh, my God. Oh, Lord. Sometimes maybe I don't understand words really well. I'm thinking that. But anyway, continuing. Hale's social media platforms are where people are educated and equipped and encouraged with a dash of humor on the side. Now, Hale's has expanded and continues to expend substantial time, money, and resources in acquiring subscribers, providing ongoing programs, and maintaining relationships and goodwill with them. Now, I would say, you know, he does indeed, for his type of coverage, it has an overhead. Like for me, okay, like say I buy a document like this. I'd have $1.60 in overhead, you know, plus whatever equipment I'm using. And if I'm really in the mood and you know, I might buy something to like merchandise or something, you know, that'll be an expense. For him though, for his style of content, storage units, acquisition of items, he has an entire staff that works for him. You know, me, I have a staff. I have 3 people that work for me, actually. I don't know if you knew this. There's me, myself, and I. We all work for ThatUmbrellaGuy. So I guess we have 3 employees. And we're all underpaid, baby. That mean old tug. No, but I mean, he does. He has quite a few expenses that a lot of people, we don't have. Puts in a lot to give people a good product. Since October 2021 to date, Preston resides in Levy County, Florida, is a Florida resident, and has been a viewer of Hale's social media since at least 2020. Now, she has contested that idea, interestingly enough, about viewership. You know, yes, I've seen a couple of items here and there, but I was never a fan. Even though, again, there are screenshots that show her tagging them in as neighbors. And I mean, it's good stuff there. But since October 2021 to date, Cook resides on the same property as Preston, and as such is a Florida resident in Levy County, Florida, and who is also a viewer of Hale's social media platforms since at least 2020. Now, they talk about jurisdiction, they're like, court, we'll just skip that. Because jurisdiction, we've already talked about jurisdiction, how exactly that works. Again, there was an argument about jurisdiction, saying that Jeremy lived in Florida, which Jeremy, again, that has been decided. That goes back to the recommendations and the adoption of said recommendations. The adoption of recommendations happened on 9/27. Yeah, so it happened just a few days ago, just a note. It feels like it happened. With this stuff as crazy and as much of it comes up, it feels like it happened a million years ago. Defendant's misconduct. There's more of this stuff, too, just to say. There's more documentation that goes with this, too. Oh, I got to be ready to read that one. I mean, there's some crazy stuff. Megan read some of the craziest stuff you ever heard. But defendant's misconduct. December 2020, Hale's purchased land for part-time operations of his social media platforms, Levy County, Florida. 2020, Preston and Cook resided together in Northport, Sarasota County, Florida. Now, in honor or about May 18th, 2020, Preston started her own YouTube channel. And the stalking begins. Again, that's the headline here. Oh, notice that misnumbering. Oh, no, it's so bad to miss. When you see something, I want to make this clear, too. Unless it's an egregious error, like something just insane. Lawyers make errors. I'll laugh about them sometimes if they're really funny. You make fun of them, but they don't matter. If you imagine you put together as many files, especially when people start papering lawsuits and it gets even crazier, you get more errors. But there's always like little errors, and sometimes they're funny. It's like, oh my God, it dragged on so much it gets its own. it gets an extension of 12. So on or about July 17th, 2021, Preston drove from Northport, Florida, to a vacant lot across the street from Hale's property in Levy County, Florida. Hereinafter, this will be called the vacant lot across the road. So again, very creative name, by the way. Very enjoyed. Vacant lot across the road. Taking a quote-unquote fan picture by the entrance to the Hale's property, where his quote-unquote drive-through sign was publicly known to be located. Now, posting this quote-unquote fan picture to her social media, Preston falsely stated, they put in, falsely stated there. The number one, she had bought the vacant lot across the road, and two, that Hale's was now her quote-unquote new neighbor. Now, interestingly, and we still have to finish all this stuff up too, in the deposition that 7 hours of deposition, which Bruce complains about quite a bit in one of his latest followings, where he's trying to depose Jeremy. It's basically a little bit about kind of then it gets into all this other crazy stuff. We saw the email exchanges. If you missed that, we went over them last night. We'll go over them again because I want to put all this stuff kind of together in live stream, stacking them. That way people can find them in one place where we talk about it. If you go through, though, they try to allege that the lawyer for Jeremy was just asking inane questions, things that had no relevance whatsoever. And he did that for 7 hours just to, and they attach harassing, stalking, whatever. I can't remember their buzzwords for it. Their explanation, how they want to define all of that. But if you look now at this, she has been locked into specific answers that came up within that 7 hours. So, you know, them claiming that all of that had no relevance, that was just there to harass or whatever. Yeah, no. It was showcasing exactly what they wanted. What they wanted is for her to over-explain. She, when she was answering all of that stuff too, a lawyer, you know, she decided to represent herself in that case. Up to a certain degree. And the lawyer, yes, would have told her, hey, don't say all this dumb shit. But she did. She did, and she put it on record. It is part of court record. So on the same July 2021 visit, Preston asked Hales if he could remove a tree from a vacant lot across the road. The vacant lot across the road. Which she did not even own in July 2021. There's been discussion about that too. You know how basically Jeremy was asked to come over and to help out. He said that he was told that property belonged to them. Why does that matter? Well, there could be all kinds of legal ramifications that could pop up with that. Now, if you're under the impression that somebody owns something and they're asking you, yeah, but the legal liability, anything else, that invites a lot of problems. But it notes Hales, not knowing that Preston was lying and believing her lies, that she was the owner of the vacant lot across the road. I also like that it's capitalized every time, vacant lot across the road, which she did not even own in July 2021, personally used his tractor to move the tree from the vacant lot across the road, which she did not even own in July 2021. I like that they hammer that every time too. You know, she didn't own it. By the way, she still didn't own it. And by the way, she still doesn't own it. I like that. You know, you do want to hammer. You've got to remember judges too. One of the things that we were talking about, and I'm sure Bruce disagrees with. You want to, judges, they see a lot of material and rambling conspiratorial nonsense off. Yeah, that's a good way to lose them. You want to hammer something home. You want to make something concise enough where when they're reading it, they're like, okay. So on or about July 21st, 2021, Preston and Cook, they list their Northport, Florida house for sale. Then on or about October the 8th, 2021, Preston and Cook bought the same vacant lot. Oh no, it's not capitalized. Is it a different one? How dare you not give it the respect it deserves? It's not capitalized. What's going on? No, I'm just playing. I get so used to one. Vacant lot across the road from the Hale's property in Levy County of Florida that she visited in July 2021. Now on or about October 7th. So you see the timeline that they're establishing here. They're saying in July, you had this presentation of they own this. They've gone down there. They don't own it at all. You see time, fast forward, going all the way into October. Late October, October 27th, 2021, Preston and Cook sold their Northport, Florida house. And between December 2021, February 2023, both Preston and Cook created multiple local Levy County Facebook pages asking for donations to Preston's 501c3. It's a shell thing, a purported tortoise rescue, not open to the public. Purported. It's reportedly a tortoise rescue. What exactly does it do? Well, they create a really good jambalaya. No, they don't actually, from what I know, but I've never heard them talk about turtle soup. I'm just guessing. I did watch that video from Fish and Wildlife, though, where it did look like they were steaming a few turtles, you know, in that one big ass freaking container. It did look like a sauna. It looked like a steaming pot. It was like, good Lord, those things are gonna cook in the sun. So between December 2021, February 2023, Preston made it clear to Hales that she was a fan of the Hales and would on occasion ask Hales for quote-unquote free merchandise, stating that she needs money to pay her bills. Free merchandise, yeah. I mean, that's crazy stuff, man. I mean, again, and I think everybody knows what's being said here, but just in case, because there's a lot of people that, you know, this is getting more and more notice. Obviously, the allegation here is that they moved down with a certain express intent. You can see that in the allegation presented right there. So on or about February the 12th, 2023, Hales relented to his constant request from Preston and gave Preston 2 leap pads. Now they note, in case you don't know what a leap pad is, leap pads are kid-friendly tablets that include preloaded content featuring core skills in mathematics, reading, and science, as well as music, puzzles, logic, creativity to prepare kids for preschool and beyond. We actually have owned a couple of leap pads. You know, in the past, they were actually pretty good. I like them. The kids, it's funny. When the kids get app games sometimes, I'm like, hey, I like that one. You know, like some of the weird matching ones. And as the older one, as she's gotten older, she uses not a leap pad anymore. You know, she's using like a tablet and stuff. But it is funny. I'm like, man, I like that one game. There's some app. Let me think. I've got it on my phone too. I liked it enough that I use it as well. What's it called? It's called Elevate. You know, it's supposed to be for like brain skills, but it has little looking like there's a little space shuttle flying, and you know you'll be asked like a specific word, and below it you'll have 2 meanings. Which one's right, and you have to answer quickly or estimate, you know, costs. But yeah, technology is wonderful for that, and leap pads, they do a good job, I have to say. I feel like I'm running a commercial for leap pads. By the way, here's my associate link. No, actually, I don't have one. That's what it sounded like there. Oh man, here we go with a middle name, by the way. Cunning linguist, thanks for two. John Jacob Jingleheimer Crook. There we go. Oh, here's another one. John Jacob Ingleheimer Schmidt Crook. So thank you to Tug. I'm saving you from the content Santa. I know every day is Christmas here. Every day. Deanna, thank you also for 5 gifted memberships there. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you all the time too. Thank you. Appreciate you a lot. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for the membership, and welcome to Tugs Thugs. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Oh, whoops. Here we are. I was about to skip that. I was like, oh no. So, moving our timeline forward. On or about February the 15th, 2023, Preston asked Hales if she could attend for free a paid quote-unquote meet and greet live event that the Hales were having in Levy County, Florida, with many of his fans and supporters visiting on site from around the world. There's been a lot of discussion about that too. A lot of it actually sounded like it would be fun, but it did have an associated cost. Like when Jeremy's talked about that, he's talked about everything that went into it. You know, they didn't even cover their costs, but yes, there was an associated cost there. So Hale's like, okay, yeah, sure. You know, you can do that. So on or about February the 20th, this is 5 days later, Preston asked Hales if she could bring her own donation box to the paid meet and greet live event. He said, no. Nope, can't do that. Can't have that there. So the extortion and blackmail begins. Again, that is the headline. Just a note. So being denied further access, advantages they would have if permitted to solicit donations from Hale's fan base, Preston and Cook maliciously began threatening to do injury to Hale's reputation with intent, thereby to extort said advantages for themselves. So again, the claim here is, well, they can't put this out. They can't get said advantages, They can't solicit donations. So there's the allegation that they begin threatening to do injury with the intent to extort those same advantages. So Preston and Cook immediately began publishing defamatory statements about Hales on their various social media platforms. In May 2023, for example, I have not redacted these two, so I will redact them as I read, as I will verbally redact them. Preston said, by the way, if you enjoy this content, I'm sure that this will get demonetized, so share. Tell everybody we're live, and if you'd like to go further with some breadstick money, feel free. But Preston stated on her social media that she, quote, watched Jeremy Hale's videos till recently, and, quote, Jeremy Hales only thinks about the size of his junk. Man, everybody talking about the man and his 2-inch pipe. Lord, I swear. They talk about the length of his driveway, talking about the length of his pipe, and then trying to blame him for it. The size of his own junk. What could have been a funny flame war, too? They could have had like a flame war. It turns into some even more insane stuff. And here's a good question, too, from SF. Thanks for the 5 there. It says, if she didn't watch his videos, how'd she know about the live event? Yeah, how do you know to get yourself invited there? She's like, I believe her answer to that was, we had some turtles, and he was so desperate to have us do tortoise tricks, or whatever the fuck tortoises would do. And he said, he was open to the idea because, again, of the meme about turtles. Yeah, you want to come out? Sure. Oh, wait, you want to solicit money to? No, that's not acceptable. So it's kind of interesting to, and by the way, she was asked during her deposition if she had proof of her claims of how this transpired. And she kept saying, yeah, I had emails and I have messages, but I don't have the same phone anymore. So it's all locked up under my phone, which absolutely doesn't make sense that way. Unless you're switching phone numbers. Your text messages, they follow, and you can still have your text messages brought over with a phone number exchange. I know this for a fact because I've done that. I had a phone number. I ended up having to get a different phone number. But guess what? All those text messages I had, they followed over anyway. And backing up, it's very simple. Email, too, is not attached to a phone whatsoever. You don't have, so when you're looking at emails and you're like, oh, well, that email is X, Y, or Z. No, that's not how emails work either. So on or about May 1st, 2023, Hales went to Ohio with the intention to remain there until the fall of 2023, only returning occasionally for town hall meetings, which occur monthly. Now, in May 2023, when Hales returned from Ohio for a town meeting, Cook, number one, pulled a gun on Hales as Hales was driving by on a public roadway to enter Hales' own property. And remember, there is a video that goes along with that. So when you hear this stuff is not happening, just remember, yeah, okay. Okay, sure. Number two, trespassed in his truck on Hale's property with a gun. And when Hales confronted him and requested a leave, Cook told Hales that if he moves one step further, he will see something, quote unquote, go bang. Again, proof? Yeah. Okay. We actually, interestingly, and remember the uploader did that too, which makes it even more fascinating. You know, where did that come from? Where indeed. Good stuff there. Lolly, by the way, thanks for the 6 months. You have more than 3 workers. Don't leave out the voices if your content's screaming in your head. That's true too. Love you, Tuck, and your sexy reading. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I have to show you. I've been working on something I was writing out. At the end of this, maybe I'll read it to you. And 3, maliciously threatened to do injury to Hale's reputation with intent thereby to extort. Again, talking about advantage, getting that extorted advantage, and accordingly, publicly stated falsely on Facebook that Hale's fiance had oral, with him, and he had the photos to prove it. Here's the footnote on that. Cook posted, Jeremy, would you like me to post the picture of my rooster, I'm going to say, in, I hate to even say this, in George's mouth? You can't take this one down. You can see all the other, again, unredacted statements too. And he knew that would, that would definitely make him, of course that will make you angry. That's what people oftentimes will do to you when they're trying to deal with something like a Jeremy Hales. I see this like with myself. I was talking about with my wife. People will stop taking aim at you because all you do is laugh at them. You're like, whatever. I don't care if you say this or I don't. Oh, well, okay. Well, they're going to aim at somebody that you care about. And that's where there's an intent too. And that nastiness in the next part, it gets even worse. So after Hales left Florida to go back to Ohio, May 2023, Preston wrote many double-sided road signs, placed them around the roads surrounding Hale's property in Levy County, Florida. These signs falsely stated that Jeremy Hales arped my daughter, Jeremy Hales has to go, what the hells, Jeremy Hales, Ohio arpist, no Ohio arpist in Levy County, stop Jeremy Hales, Jeremy Hales needs to go, no child arpist in Levy Co. Stop Jeremy Hales, no arpists in Levy County. Let's see, there's a footnote with this one too. In July 2023, also, Preston posted on her social media that, quote, John posted the signs, not me. Which is that a social media post like that will be a huge problem too. Because remember, their whole denial is that these are some kind of false storyline. It's part of the bad reality neighbor script, as they keep calling it. Well, if that's the case, and they say they were never posted anywhere, they don't prove it or anything, right? Then why is there the blame there, trying to shoulder that off onto John Cook? Makes you say, doesn't it? I mean, if you were to say, man, Tug, you posted X, Y, and Z about this person on a road sign, fuck you say I did, you know? I wouldn't be like, no. This person who I share the property with and is also part of multiple litigations, they actually did it? No, that wouldn't be the answer. Accordingly, on or about May 23rd, 2023, Hale's hired an attorney who sent a cease and desist letter to Preston and Cook, which stated, let me see here. Here's the cease and desist. Quote, your unlawful defamatory statements directed to Jeremy Hales on social media platforms constitute libel under Florida law. Cease and desist publishing all defamatory statements. It has come to our attention that you posted defamatory statements regarding Jeremy Hales on various web pages, including, but not limited to, Otter Creek Friends and Neighbors, Otter Creek Politics, The Heart of Otter Creek, It's a Shell Thing, Inc., as well as other social media platforms. We demand that you immediately, A, cease and desist your unlawful defamation of Mr. Jeremy Hales, Martha, George, What the Hells, and all other variations, including all misspellings and euphemisms, such as YouTubers, neighbors, etc., including all misspellings. That's going to be difficult. I read some of those handwritten notes. It's going to be really, really difficult. Immediately remove and delete all postings related to Mr. Hales and his interests, and see that you provide us with written assurance within 10 days that you will cease and desist further libel directed to your clients. Now, on or about May 28th. Now, what's fascinating? Okay, so you see the cease and desist letter, by the way. Remember, that is a legal letter. Now, it's fascinating that, like Bruce, Brucey Bruce, he writes to people like myself and Megan and tells us, about dropping things. Otherwise, I'm not saying you will be sued. I'm only ensuring you won't be sued. You can't claim I'm saying that I'm saying I'll sue you otherwise, because that's not what I'm saying. Oh my God. Shit. Oh my goodness. On or about May 28, 2023, Preston posted on his social media that, 1, I'm going to stand tall and not let Jeremy Hales hurt me ever again. And 2, she will, quote, put a cap in the ass of anyone who messes with her. She will put a cap in it. And 3, I'm done with it. You met your match, Mr. Hales. I'm curious. I need to look at the way that's posted. Are they all like put together as you can definitely tell who's stated about? Because that's, yeah, that's an interesting item there too. I need to go back and look at that. So despite knowing the falsity of their statements, Preston and Cook used the defamatory statements to persuade Hale's customers to stop supporting Hales. Now, they're trying to claim, again, and you saw the recommendations part, which I may show that part to you again in a minute, because they try to downplay the signs portion quite a bit. They know that the damn signs are bad business. The court, their recommendations even acknowledged that kind of stuff is bad business. But Hale's reported all of the above events while in Ohio in September 2023. An Ohio court issued a 2-year renewable restraining order injunction against Preston and Cook for stalking Hales and his fiancée. Now, to date, this has not stopped Preston and Cook from continuing their illegal acts against the Hales. Rather than cease, Preston has demanded that Hales provide her with a list of the names and contact information of all of his donors. Right there, too. You know, that's pretty messed up. I'm going to say, I don't feel like I'm going out on a limb in saying this either, that when people donate to What the Hells, you know, when they're picking up memberships and more, first of all, I don't believe you have the quote-unquote contact information of everyone that's involved. I would say, though, if that information is out there and got put in a legal document, that considering how her counsel treated the addresses of multiple individuals, including a sheriff's deputy in Levy County, I would not be comfortable with that information being in their hands. Because when again, we watched that clip earlier. Them sitting right there, and they know that's bad business with them sitting right there with it happening. Yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that at all. And I'm sure Jeremy would feel exactly the same. You know, you value the people. I don't like I said, I don't believe that I have any access to your actual names or anything else. I'm pretty sure about that. Let me look, actually, because I'm pretty damn sure there is no way to look that information up. You know, that's part of, it's shielded under your YouTube access, because we don't have access to your banking. No, see, there's nothing. There's nothing there. I'm looking at it right here. I'm looking at it through Studio on my phone. So there's no information whatsoever. I could say, like, whomever right here, you know, blah, blah, blah name. Like, well, actually, it's giving me a reason to cover there, too. Like Aussie Wombat right here. I know that Aussie Wombat gifted 5 memberships, but I don't know who that is. And I'll tell you, too. I just make this fucking very clear. It'll be a cold day in hell before anybody pries information about any of you away from me. It will be a cold day in hell. Because, and I'm sure Jeremy's been in this for a while too. I'm sure he feels the same way. One of the things that he said independently, I've always stated on my channel that you all are this channel. You make this channel. I respect you for being here. And there'd be no fucking way I would turn over your names where any of you could be doxxed. But I don't think that's possible anyway. Like, you know, YouTube they won't turn that over. They'll turn over again, like Aussie Wombat donated, blah, blah, blah. Now you can look at trending on that and actually see the loss of revenue and more. You can see over time, you know, what the typical trends are, trending up and down. And then on top of it, you know, there was the discussion also of, so as far as the recommendations are concerned, remember they were talking about 2 things. They were talking about whether or not Jeremy lived in Ohio, and they were talking about damages over $75,000. That's how you actually got into the false allegation statement, which is fascinating because Bruce brought that on himself. Like, you would think about this, too. I thought this was amazing. Bruce's argument about the damages not being to that point, and he's trying to play it off like, we managed to delay this 5 months. Yeah, you also had the court on record talking about how damaging false ARP allegations are. But they were talking about that. They were talking about lawyers' expenses and more. By the way, Romer, what's up, Romer? 50 months, Romer, man. Appreciate you, brother. Hey, Tug, hope you, Bug, and Lug are well and recovering from the hurricane. Still out here, still alive. They're busy with work, waiting for the comics. Take care. Appreciate you, brother. Yes. Yeah, we're fine, by the way. I mean, our area in Tennessee, again, making this very clear. We got hammered with rain. We got hammered with some pretty nasty winds. It broke up stuff. It did some damage like that. But we didn't get flooded. We hadn't had to deal with any of that madness. So I appreciate, folks, if you want to help people, though, that have been impacted from that, there are towns underwater. So those people, they do need your help. We got very lucky. I'm thankful. I appreciate people. Like, people were checking in and making sure, because we had power outages and stuff, but we didn't. I mean, we got off really light. But yeah, thank you for that. And also Sandy. What's up, Sandy? Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships as well. Thank you very much. Been watching them rain in. Thank you. Oh, that kills me, though. Turn over those. No. As a direct result of defendant's misconduct, Hales has incurred damages. Now, injury to Hale's goodwill and reputation. Now, in addition, Hale suffered injury and harm to his reputation, and he's incurred costs associated with his extensive efforts to mitigate against such injury and harm. Now, they talked about, again, this right here. Again, you know, Bruce was arguing $75,000 or more than that. Again, there's a cutoff. There's a legal reason that number gets brought up. And we've heard the extent, just lawyer costs to the present, which are quite insane. That's why, you know, a lot of people, they'll ask, like, when people say horrible shit about you, you know, it's just online. Like, you know, I've had crazy whacked out people say some whacked out shit. Like, sue them. Well, it's time intensive. It's money intensive. And ultimately, most of the people that you deal with there, what are you going to take from them? I mean, yes, you may clear your name with that. But with Hales, it's different. Because Hales isn't dealing with just some noise from the far-flung reaches of the interwebs. He's dealing with noise and crazy that's coming to him live from across the street. From the vacant lot across the street. To quote this thing here. So the defendant's pattern of criminal conduct. So Preston and Cook's acts violated Florida's extortion statute, which makes it a felony to maliciously threaten to accuse another of a crime or offense with the intent to extort money, generate advantage, again, getting back to that advantage. And they note this Florida statute. Preston and Cook's acts, constitute predicate. I almost said premeditated. I was like, wait a minute, there's no M in that. Predicate acts under Florida's RICO statute and are evidence of Preston and Cook's pattern of continuing criminal activity. Now, when you look at this filing too, you notice this is it follows through discussing everything involved with the two people here. It's not bringing up just random ass people. I want to show you a comparison in just a minute between like documents filed, you know, from here and some of the filings that we've seen so far from the other side of the RV one is the perfect example. Actually, look at this. You've seen how this, we'll pick up right here. But okay, you see how this goes. This is typical. This is typically what you will see from somebody, right? I mean, it's not bad. It's absolutely normal. Give me 1 second here. Now, if we compare that, 1 minute, I'm pulling these up. I've got these things all over the place. Like I said, I've been making file folders for it all because there's so many different lawsuits that come up. If we were to compare this, but again, this is not aimed, you got to remember what I'm going to pull up here. I'm not going to read all of it. I just want you to remind you of what filings coming from the other side of this actually look like. If you look at the litigation for, again, like we talked at the beginning, look at how this stuff, it starts out. Like Facts Common. Remember, it's not Jeremy Hale's, not Veteran Nation. I mean, look here. Beginning around summer of 2023, non-parties Jeremy Hale and George fabricated a reality drama for content on their YouTube channel. What the hells? And it goes on. I mean, we have 2 entire pages that are just dedicated to this insane conspiracy. It brings up other non-parties, like Veteran Nation, who have nothing to do with that, and it has nothing to do with Lloyd's RV or anything else. It's trying to build this conspiracy saying that people that are here are somehow beholden to a non-party. I mean, it's wild stuff. Now, we've read that many times. I do not want to read that whole thing to you or anything. If you do want to read it, though, I would. We have some good live streams on it. But you see the difference in how this goes forward. So Preston and Cook's acts violate Florida statute 836.05 by maliciously threatening to injure Hales with the intent, again, extorting money, gaining advantage, and or to do any act or refrain from doing any act against his will. Preston and Cook's acts constitute at least 2 distinct criminal acts in violation of the Florida statute that we noted. That Florida statute prohibits utterances or communications which constitute malicious threats to do injury to another person's reputation or property. As relevant here, they note, Florida law makes it unlawful for any person, quote, through a pattern of criminal activity, to acquire or maintain, directly or indirectly, any interest in or control of any enterprise or real property, that's unquote, or for a person, quote, employed by or associated with any enterprise to conduct or participate directly or indirectly in such enterprise through a pattern of criminal activity. So count 1, defamation. This is Preston. Now they incorporate, of course, they're like, hey, all of that stuff we talked about before, that's added here. This is an action for damages against Preston that exceeds, again, the $75,000 mark for defamation per se. Preston orally and in writing published false statements about Hale's to third parties. False statements were calculated to defame or diminish the reputation of Hale's in his immediate community and within his capacity. False statements were made with knowledge of their falsity or with reckless disregard as to their veracity. Ooh, malicious. That's some malicious intent statement right there, Remember establishing that because he is a public figure. He is at least a limited purpose public figure, blah, blah, as is with any YouTuber. So what you have to prove is malicious intent. That's what they're going for right there. They're saying they either knew that it was false or they just didn't give a damn. They don't care that it's false. Now the statements to the plaintiff behavior, or characteristics that are incompatible with proper conduct, business, profession, office. False statements also impute to the plaintiff the commission of crime. As a result, defamatory, there we go, I'll get it right in a second, defamatory publications. What's really bad is when I make a video, I can't stand like a screw up like that. So sometimes when I'm reading something, like if I'm reading a filing and I make a short form video, I'm like, blah, blah. And I end up recording it like 40 times because I keep slipping over the same word or a word through it. I'm like, no. Hales has suffered general damages. Wherefore it is prayed again, debt of relief, cost, etc. You know, you always get the wherefore statement. Count 2, defamation with Cook. Again, same statements with that. You know, he's done the same thing. Again, it's the same statements that were made about her. Count 3, Civil Remedies for Criminal Practices Act. Preston. Again, incorporating paragraphs 1 through 40. Costs. They have the statute here. 2 distinct instances separated in time. Preston extorted Hales within the Florida statute that we discussed. Preston's acts constitute a violation of, again, the Florida statute, which prohibits any person from using a written communication to, quote, maliciously threaten injury to the property of another, quote, with intent to extort money, again, advantage. We've seen this statement right here, so we'll just skip all that. We saw that earlier above. Her conduct, amongst other things, constitutes a pattern of criminal activity in violation of Florida Statute 772.1034 by constituting a, quote, endeavor to violate any of the provisions of the statute, namely, again, in the statute, instead of 4, though, we're talking about 3, which prohibits any person from participating in extortion enterprise through a pattern of criminal activity. This ongoing pattern of criminal conduct constitutes a continuing threat of illegal conduct persisting into the future. Now, as far as that, again, you can see what they're asking for. They ask for actual damage, an amount to be established at trial, statutory damages, attorney's fees, and whatever else the court says, yeah, that's appropriate. Same thing for Cook. So again, count 4 is a mirror of count 3. Count 5, tortious interference with advantageous business relationships for Preston. Again, 69 and 70 are the same thing we've seen. Hales maintains valid and enforceable contracts and business relationships with its customers. By the way, this is interesting. So one of those hate channels, we talked about this at one time. They actually went after advertisers. Remember that discussion we were having where, and at first, from the way I understood this, they were denying that they themselves did that. They were like, no. People send us this stuff. That isn't actually us who's doing this. We're just looking at stuff and we're reading about it, right? Well, in one of the live streams, because again, people will send me snippets of a live stream that about faces. And you no longer have the, you no longer have a discussion of someone else sent that to me. No, there's an admission, an actual admission to damages being done. And it's fascinating considering one of the people that's on the panel, while all of this stuff is being discussed, can you guess who's been sitting there as part of that? Let me pull this up real quick. Because you'll notice a theme through a lot of this. Who is that down there in the bottom? And again, you have panel members that are saying, yeah, you know what? Fuck yeah, I did that. You'd think maybe be smart enough not to not only do it, but admit to them. I mean, again, tortious interference is, just imagine this, the simplest way we can cover this. Business relationships are A, B. If you and I, we have a business relationship together. I'm party A, you're party B, and party C, they see their way right into our relationship. They fuck around with our relationship. They're interfering. Now, what was interesting is when we talked about this at first, tortious interference is a difficult one to go with. But when you look at some of the proof that has been brought forward, calling someone an ARPist or a child ARPist, saying that Jeremy Hale's, quote, this is the quote off the sign, ARPed my daughter. That's, whew. You can imagine the kind of damage you could do with that alone. And then there's been aiming specifically at folks. I mean, just nuts. What's up, Wheezy Wheels? Thanks for the 5 too. As a donor to What the Hells, they will have a long way to come and find me. Yeah, well, and like I said, it'd be a cold day in hell before most people would ever give up anyone anyway. Like I said, Wheezy Wheels. There's a don't. Okay, 5. Who is that? Well, that's who they are. I don't know who they are. I don't know their names. And Janice, thanks for the 10. Did Brucey Boy's wife take him in sickness, in health, and knows? Asking for a friend. Asking for a friend. I do not know, nor have I ever wanted to look. Now, unlike some of these people, I've actually never wanted to look into their personal relationships. Because unlike many of these folks, I don't see any benefit to it. I've just never found it interesting. That's apparently a one-way street for a lot of these folks, though, isn't it? George, thank you for the super sticker there, too. Thank you. Liberty Bell, thanks for 5. Can CPS be held responsible for the child being left in certain circumstances? Who is there for the child? Usually not. Every now and then, okay, now I'm not talking about this situation, but in situations where that happens, if something does happen, it typically happens to some person on a lower rung, like a worker, like one worker. And if there's enough blowback situationally, like if something drastic ever did occur in a situation, they usually promise like changes. But does that transpire? No. Again, Texas is the perfect example. Federally being held in contempt. $100,000 a day for Texas. They were told that was coming, and they still didn't fix their problems. So many of these are just absolute mess there. And Wanda, thanks for the 2. Hey, Tug, where's DUI guy? Like, where is he? Is he not uploaded stuff? I haven't looked right off the bat. I mean, the last time he had that hacking issue, and that was actually the last time I talked to him. I mean, like for me, I talked to Megan because we live stream together, And actually, I consider Megan a friend. So I'll talk to her about cases and things like that, and that's more contact, because like I said, we stream together at least 2 times on there. And again, I think Megan's hilarious, so that's a lot of fun. But as far as most people that I know online, like DUI Guy, I like DUI Guy quite a bit. And if he ever needs anything, he knows that he can reach out to me. And sometimes I'll hit him up randomly. But by and large, there's a lot of gaps that go in between that. Because people go in their own ways, they cover their own cases. So I'm not sure, like I haven't looked specifically there. I've been caught up in my own whatever I'm doing. But yeah, I'll have to check. I'll see what Larry's up to. If he hasn't, I'll check his uploads and stuff, and he hasn't been doing anything. If he doesn't have anything stated on Twitter, I'll hit him up and see what's what, you know. Let's see. Okay, so we're here. Valid enforceable contracts. Preston is knowledgeable of the contractual and business relationships between Hales and his customers. Despite knowledge of the customer's contractual and business relationships with Hale, Preston intentionally and without valid justification interferes with such relationships. Hales is damaged by Preston's unlawful conduct by losing revenue streams that otherwise would remain with Hales absent Preston's interference with Hale's valid contractual relationships. And again, they ask for specific damages on there. And you have the same thing with Cook. Okay, so that, I believe, is the entire initial filing. They have the notice. I'm going to do something here that's crazy, by the way. If you look at my entire screen there, you'll notice there's another page, right? But I'm not going to cover that last page. Why am I not covering that last page, you might ask? Because it has the contact information for all attorneys. Now, the attorney's stuff is still, if it did get shared, that is talking about their law groups. So it's not like you do damage to them. But in the case of, now I did find it fascinating too. You know, when something's uploaded, you know, another thing that a counsel can do when they talk about serving someone, they can redact addresses. They could do that. They decided not to. And I'm not talking about like in this here, where you have the, where you just have the attorney's addresses and stuff. You know, their businesses. I'm talking about in the stuff we talked about at the beginning. Oh, man. Anyway, I'm going to hit some... Actually, I think I've hit all super chats. I've kept them up. Yeah, that's good. I did a good job today. That's fascinating. I was thinking about doing something today, too. I wanted to, like I said, I want to go through some of the other filings in this case. Because when you read the case itself, like when people talk about, like again, when I hear tortious interference, for example, I think, I mean, there's stuff like we went over this last night. Let me show you something crazy. I don't want to put this into its own place, but I want to actually show you some of the communications that happen that are just absolutely, they're wild. You know, there's been threats. There's also been just rudeness, and it's fascinating. I mean, it's crazy when you see it. Like, for example, let me pull this document up here real quick. And I want to put these all into context. I just want to give you an idea of some of the stuff that's out there and why it's just interesting to cover. You know, we were talking about this last night with Megan. But you know, you have the email communications that go back and forth. And when you look at them, you know, there's requests. It's been fascinating to look at this stuff anyway, because, okay, this starts out, listen to how this starts, all right? This is Bruce talking to Shockett, all right? Dear counsel, is there any chance you'll respond to any communication from me in connection with our respective roles as counsel of record in the federal lawsuit in which you represent plaintiff Jeremy Hales against my client Michelle Preston? There's a requirement the counsel confer under. Can we plan that conference separately? Now look at this. In light of the rebroadcast by your client of January 16, 2024 deposition of Miss Preston in the state court TRO action, I believe you will become a witness in the present action or an independent one in which Miss Preston, Mr. Cook, and H.G. Preston will be plaintiffs. Wait, what? wait. Wait, what? I'll read that sentence to you again, or part of that. I believe you will become a witness in present action or an independent one in other actions when we sue. More threats of litigation. Always. I mean, again, over and over and over. Then you have the exchanges. The exchange gets really interesting because it goes back and forth. He asks questions. They're like, hey, by the way, he wants dates to meet. They're like, okay, here's some dates. He's like, well, you didn't respond to certain questions there. He gets back a, hey, you were given dates. You're refusing to choose one. Therefore, we're going to choose a specific date right here. I get the Zoom attachment to it. There's no response. They wrote back. They wrote back with it, and this is the response from Brucey Bruce. After that, listen to this. I do not respond to legal assistance on substantive matters, nor do I accept threats of sanctions from legal assistance. They were telling him, if you're not going to do this, you keep asking for it and asking for it, you're wasting our time and our clients' money because Jeremy is paying for these communications. And his response is, I don't respond to legal assistance. And this guy who loves to make threats all the fucking time. He starts out with talking about more litigation. He's like, I don't accept threats of sanctions from legal assistance. When your office chooses to conduct itself in a professional manner, I am sure we can accomplish the scheduling of the Rule 26 meeting. I am unavailable at this specific dates. Again, you see this shit. It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing to look at. There's more filings, though. When Jeremy actually started bringing forward his proof of items, I was like, holy crap. Some of the stuff that was there was just kind of mind-blowing. I mean, there was a statement where there's a bunch of stuff. Actually, I need to go over that whole filing. But there's a specific statement. Give me 1 second here. I gotta find it. I gotta roll back to it. And I'll have to bleep certain words out of it. Because I was like, what in the world did I just read? So this is part of one of the filings. Give me 1 minute. Damn it. There it is. Okay, listen to this. So this was posted. I want to read the whole thing to this. And I'm going to bleep some of these words out when I read it, okay? Posted, John has the perfect plan to take down his YouTube, I'm going to say bundle of sticks, man. You know what I'm saying there. And there's the word sand, and then there's a certain very explicit N word that comes up, wife. It's too good. We have a friend getting out of jail, and he's going to do work for us. Plus, he has a jail friend. Put a tracker in his truck and trailer, like the exact kind the FBI uses. And once we find Hale's headquarters, John and his jail friend are going to go there when YouTube is in Florida. Jeremy almost ran over our sweet little baby, and John chased him down, and he was ready to beat Jeremy up, but Bitch Boy and his slave called 911, and we have put a restraining order on them. That's actually one of the filings in this. And there's a whole lot more. I was like, wow, what the what now? What the what? Yeah. I mean, there's an entire document of craziness like that. And that's actually like, okay, so give me 1 minute. That stuff, like I said, we will read that on its own because it is a long document. But if you are curious about it and you would like to read that thing on your own, just to see what's there, because it is wild. It is the plaintiff's memorandum of law in opposition to defendant's motion for summary judgment. You've got this. You have the signs insanity. I mean, it is something. When you start looking at everything and actually going over it, it's crazy because people love to boil this down to bad neighbor or YouTuber drama or something, you know, whatever. And it's like, holy crap. Getting your jail friend to do what now? I mean, that's some madness. But anyway, like I said, that's really what I wanted to cover tonight, though. Give me a second. I've been trying out something like totally off subject with this. I've been trying out, you know, we do our comics and stuff, right? I've been trying out getting back into the writing thing. I've been doing some short storying and stuff. I just finished up like a short one. I had this weird dream where I used to live. We had these weird. So, my grandfather, he owns nursery land, and on top of it, he has cattle. And in one of his fields, there's a patch of trees that they look creepy. They have no branches. They just grow straight up. They look like weird desiccated sticks almost. I had this dream one time about one of those trees being a thing. And I was like, man, you know, that'd be like an interesting writing item. I thought about going over one of those just to kind of change up the flow one night, you know, have a little fun with it. By the way, Megan's done. Thanks for the 2. This crick guy stinks. Yeah. And Suzanne, thanks for the 10 there. There was another screenshot about putting nails in Jeremy Hale's driveway. I mean, there's so much there. It's just, like I said, it's crazy stuff. But we'll go over all of the evidence another night. Tomorrow, I'm not sure. One day this week, like I said, I've got to go over, because I feel like I have to, like it's necessary. I want to go over the litigation coming from the Amber Heard simp, aiming at not just Johnny Depp's lawyer, but Paul Barisi. You know, that guy, he was hired by Amber Heard. He was supposed to dig up dirt on Johnny Depp. And he came back and said, yo, I didn't find any. In fact, you should see what I found. And after that, he has been targeted with the most insane stuff. But he was targeted by somebody with, again, a 120-page lawsuit. And that lawsuit, I want to, you know, we talk about lawsuits and we talk about ridiculousness. Look at this. You want to see ridiculousness? I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you something ridiculous, okay? This is what I want to cover, because this man is having to get a lawyer because of it. So this is a 124-page filing. Now, typically when I say 124-page filing, right, we would be talking about exhibits. Yeah, that's what you expect, right? Exhibits. So you're going to have 10, 12 pages, and then exhibits. No. If you look at this, it is all documentation. It is all a claim. Look at this. Like, it's madness. I mean, and it details one of the most insane conspiracies I've ever heard put to paper. I mean, it's nut job stuff. If you watch the Johnny Depp trial, by the way, this was the person putting handbills on cars and was out, with signs and stuff. But she's saying this is all the complaint. This is not any type of evidence. This is the complaint itself. It's still going. And I mean, I'm rolling it down just to give you an idea. Now, she filed this pro se. Where is that page? It's down here. Give me a minute. She files this pro se, of course, demanding a jury trial. But it is madness. Absolute madness. And I think that has to be covered. Because you have Team Heard, yet again, trying to sue somebody. This is a person, by the way, that she quotes the guy, that clip that I play in the beginning. This one, I'm not going to play it all, but this
I'm calling from Los Angeles.
That guy, yeah, that's a real police call. I've just chopped it up a little bit. That is a real police call here. I just have chopped it up. The I'm a man one. Yeah. But that guy, she quotes him as part of this insane conspiratorial nonsense as a source for a bunch of just, again, she's come up with this batshit insane conspiracy. This person, though, I dealt with them. I dealt with the guy that she was using as her quote-unquote source. That guy filed police reports in at least 6 states. He was part of going to the FBI talking about it, again, because we were covering cases. I mean, these people were crazy. They were absolutely crazy. So, when I talk about people threatening you for covering cases, that's not new. That's absolutely not. But unfortunately, Paul has had to have that. Photo Lady, thanks for the 5. I came across Bruce's interview for the mac and cheese case. I commented yawn. He said I wasn't smart enough to understand it anyway. What an ass. I've not watched it. I didn't care enough to, But yeah, commentary. Oh, well, if you don't find me, if you don't think that my style is very impressive, you must be very dumb. That is not very... that's not a very good way to get in public, right? But anyway, let's end here tonight. I think it'll be a good place. Crazy people. At least we have some fun though, talking about all this. By the way, Amy, thanks for 21 months. Appreciate you. Love watching your lives, Tuck. Hope you and your family are doing well. We're doing very well. Thank you. I appreciate you all. This also, it gives me reasons to laugh at stupid. So anyway, I'm going to end here. I appreciate you folks, and I'll see you.